Hey everyone, Chernobyl here, challenging Abyss 12 once again with a randomized team. This time comprised of Raiden, Traveler, Kating, and Noelle. It is my first time getting Traveler and Kating in randomized, so that's pretty exciting. The rule for randomized is that if I get Traveler, I get to pick the Traveler's elements. In this case, it is advantageous for me to pick the Geo Traveler because I get Geo Resonance from her and Noelle, which is a very useful resonance, and she can be used to battery Noelle. In fact, I'm running 0 ER on Noelle, full damage, with the Red Horn Thresher, so it is really important that I battery her and am conscious about energy management. Against this many enemies, Noelle is the most efficient at dealing damage. However, every once in a while there's going to be a Pyro Aura that pulses, and when these enemies are buffed by the Pyro Aura, their stats are going to skyrocket to absurdly high levels. When that happens, it is important that I remove the aura ASAP using Electro, so either from Raiden or from Kating. Now both these Kairagis are fairly low. I have to be careful here because I want to kill both of these Kairagis around the same time so that neither of them is able to heal. And I can do this by applying the Noblesse buff and then switching to Raiden and casting her burst, which takes out both the Kairagis. Very nice. Noelle's burst is back once again, but I don't want to use it, I want to save her energy for 12-2. Here, unfortunately, I get kicked on Raiden, and that does a lot of damage to her. She is now in the red. Usually enemies like Treasure Hoarders are really easy pickings, not at all a real threat, but with the Pyro Aura, they too have to be reckoned with. And that is why it is imperative that I remove the Pyro buff as soon as possible using Electro. I switch to Noelle just to heal, and I'm going to finish off these last 3 enemies using Raiden and Kating for the most part. Also, I apologize for not uploading in a long time. I've been quite busy with Elden Ring and Mahjong lately. That's why I'm uploading this video during the tail end of version 2.6. Well, actually, during the maintenance between 2.6 and 2.7. And there we go, that is top half. In the bottom half, we have Kaeya, Sayu, Rosaria, and Xiangling, as decided by the randomizer. This team actually looks like a reasonable team that people might really run. After all, this is just a reverse melt team, right? At least, that's what I thought initially. I thought the top half would struggle a lot without Hydro, but bottom team would be completely fine because it has double cryo. Turns out that will not be the case, for reasons that will become evident later. But for now, this team is able to handle these 2 Ruin Guards very easily. I do have Xiangling's burst up again, but I'm not going to use it because I want to conserve Xiangling's burst for Abyss National in 12-2 bottom. Getting 3 stars here is really not time constrained. 12-2 top highlights the importance of good grouping. I start off by running near the wall, and that baits all 3 Wappa Flowers to teleport near me. And this is advantageous because it allows Noelle to hit all 3 of them with her normal attacks. In particular, the Abyssal Moon effect deals delayed true damage proportional to how many normal attacks each enemy has received. So there goes the first wave. The second wave can be quite RNG dependent because these Wappa Flowers do not teleport consistently. The best I can do is try to hit 2 of them at once. I don't want to use Noelle's burst again because I want to conserve her energy, so I'm going to finish off this wave using Raiden's burst as well as Kating's burst. Overall, 12-2 is not particularly constrained on time. However, the bottom half is very constrained on survival, as you will soon see. My Kating is dealing less damage than usual because she is running 4-piece Thundering Fury. This is a trade-off that will pay off later in 12-3. The biggest hurdle of 12-2 bottom is that Abyss National can sometimes combo me to death without giving me a chance to heal. This is an issue that doesn't really show up if you trivialize this chamber using Venti or Kassadin, but of course, I did not have that luxury here. I actually picked the Abyss card that grants me plus 40% defense when HP is above 50%, just to increase my odds of survival. Now, Sayu also increases my odds of survival here, not just by healing me, but also with her phenomenally useful elemental skill, which, in addition to being extremely fast, also ignores enemy collision, which allows me to never stay in the same place for too long, and therefore juke most of their attacks. Now, obviously, I don't expect to dodge every single attack, but most importantly, I want to dodge the projectiles from the Herald, which increase my skill cooldown, as well as the projectiles from the Electro Lecture, which drain my energy. Now that I got all 3 of them to shield up, I switch to Sayu and I pick up the Hydro from the Hydro Herald, and then I run over to the Pyro Lectures and start breaking his shield using the Hydro I picked up. And just like that, I've taken out half of his Pyro Shield without getting a single Hydro character on my team. That, my friend, is the power of Sayu the Ninja. It is my firm belief that Sayu is one of the most criminally underrated characters in Genshin Impact. Any tier list that rates her more than one space below Jean is a garbage tier list. And Jean is pretty good, let's be real. I'm mostly focusing the Pyro Shield because of my team. I already have Pyro and Cryo on my team. Pyro is good at breaking the Electro Shield, and Cryo is good at breaking both the Electro Shield and the Hydro Shield. That being said, I don't get a very good grouping RNG here. The two Electros are standing really far apart. With ideal grouping, this team can actually do 720 or 725. Nevertheless, I secured a 3 stars. But Xiangling's energy isn't very charged, which is going to negatively affect the next chamber. In 12-3, I picked the energy recharge card again. And maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome at this point, but I actually enjoy fighting 12-3 with Keqing. So the grouping strat here is I will bait one of the Electors to attack me while standing still while the other one approaches, and that causes both of them to be lined up, shoulder to shoulder, perpendicular to the wall. I then switch to Raiden and spam N1Cs to push them toward the wall. I switch to Traveler and do some more pushing, and then I switch to Noelle and do yet more pushing, using N4 combos. Pitting them against the wall is good for grouping in Phase 2, and sacrificing a bit of optimality in Phase 1 in order to secure good grouping in Phase 2 is extremely worth it in this fight. And right as Noelle's shield explodes, both of them are also ready to shield up. Now I switch to Keqing and take advantage of 4-piece Thundering Fury. Because I am proccing Overload very often, and Overload is an Electro reaction, I'm able to get Keqing's elemental skill and burst on a severely shortened cooldown, which really helps with Electro application. Also, the grouping here is just perfect. I'm able to hit both of them at the same time using my Electro attacks, and that is just a tremendous time save because it's essentially fighting a single Elector instead of 2. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. The difference between a perfect grouping and a decent but imperfect grouping in this chamber is like 20 whole seconds. Yeah, Keqing's damage might be kinda copium, but in terms of Electro application, she is wonderful. In stark contrast to 12-3 top, I really hate 12-3 bottom. These two Abyss Heralds are more prone to splitting than the Union and the Confederacy in 1860. Unfortunately, there isn't too much to talk about in this fight. Pretty much it just comes down to cycling through my attacks and aiming at whichever one of them has more HP and hoping that the other one comes along. Using Favonius Particles, I'm able to give Xiangling her burst again, and Pyrodado is, as usual, a big chunk of my damage. And I also get to double cast Kaya's elemental skill thanks to Sack Sword. Although, unfortunately, during Phase 2, neither Favonius nor Sack Weapon can proc on the Hydro Shield, so that's going to hurt my energy generation. I also switched to Sayu to fight VV at regular intervals. I do apologize for forgetting to record my build for this run. I will try to somewhat remedy that in the description down below. But also I think my stats aren't super interesting because the bottleneck of this run is breaking shields on 12-3. I guess the inclusion of 4-piece Thundering Fury on Keqing is kind of interesting. At this point, all I can do is just try to keep them mostly frozen. I cannot keep them perma-frozen because I don't have enough trials for that. But yeah, I'm using Kaya and Rosaria to the best of my ability to try to keep them together and prevent them from drifting apart. But if one of them decides to do a spinning dash, there's not much I can do to delay the inevitable huge time loss. This half, despite having double cryo, felt far less consistent than my top half, which had no Hydro. I get pretty lucky this time. They decide to mostly do melee attacks on me, and that allows me to finish with a very uncomfortably close 703. But that is enough for 9 stars. So yeah, thank you for watching once again. This is Chernobyl, signing out.